Hey guys, it's Amanda and I'm back with another video. I haven't posted in like maybe a few weeks or a month or something. Just been like busy, like, end of the year, senioritis, alright. Okay, but today I'm going to be making a video about how I got over a 30 on the ACT. So hopefully this video can be helpful to you guys if you kind of want to know a little bit more about the ACT, or if you're kind of aiming to get a 30 or above. Yeah. So I'll just kind of start from the beginning for me. So before taking the ACT, I had taken the SAT twice, and I wasn't really satisfied with my scores, and I didn't want to take the SAT again. So I was just like, you know what, let me just try the ACT. Let me try it. So I signed up to take it in September of my senior year. No, like I didn't sign up in September. I signed up to take it in September, if that makes sense. So yeah, so basically that kind of just gave me the summertime to like practice for it, and it's about to be summer right now, so I would definitely say trying to like prep for this is good in the summer, so you don't have to like do all this prepping stuff on top of like normal homework. So yeah, there's one tip. So another tip I have for you guys is to set a goal of what you want to get on this test. I think, and make sure it's a SMART goal. You know, we all learned that in health class, right? Actually, like, make an attainable goal for yourself. Like, I mean, don't make it too easy, but like, you know, make it like somewhat attainable. Like, if you got like a 28 the first time, maybe it's not that reasonable to like say I'm gonna get a 36 next time. How I set my goal was I kind of converted my SAT score into an ACT score on like this conversion calculator. I can link it below. And I kind of just wanted to get like maybe a couple points higher than that. So the goal I really settled on was getting a 32. And also, when making your goal, keep in mind what colleges you're like trying to get into or that you're interested in. The first time I took the ACT, I got a 31, and you know, that wasn't my goal. It was 1 point off my goal. So I took it again, and I did get a 32 the second time. This next tip is kind of, you could do this either before or after you set a goal. But I would say take like a benchmark test, basically just taking a practice test, timed and everything, but with like no really prior experience, just to see like where you are and where you need to go with your score, or where you think you can go. Yeah, I would recommend doing that. So after you set a goal and after you kind of find a benchmark of where you are, really the bulk of it is just practicing. I would recommend taking as many practice tests as you possibly can. Taking practice tests really just helps you get familiar with the structure of the test. It helps you get familiar with the time constraints. Taking practice tests is definitely one of the best things you can do for yourself, especially if you're just self-studying and you don't really have a class or an outside tutor, which was the case for me. Alright, so this is like my primary source of practice tests. The Real ACT official test official. This book had 5 practice tests, and obviously it had all the answers, and like I'm pretty sure it had explanations for all the answers. But yeah, I think getting like a review guide from like the official ACT, I think that's just a safe choice, because like obviously they make the actual test, so like getting a review guide from them should be good. I'm not really familiar with other ones, but yeah, you could also look into those, of course. And also, if you can't buy your own ACT book, I know they have them at libraries, and you could like check that out or photocopy it or something. And also, I know on prepscholar.com they have this like huge list of sources of like official ACT practice tests that you can just print out and take for free. I literally still have this from last summer, my ACT practice log. Wow, what a scholar. Alright, so yeah, so like my benchmark starting out was a 29. You know, obviously got higher than that on the real thing, so that's good. I kind of just like recorded what I got every single time I took the test. I would just like recommend doing that to like see how you're doing, so see where you're improving, see where you're like declining. Most of the time I got a 30 overall on my practice test. Like, I honestly don't think I ever got over higher than a 30 when I took the practice test. I think the number one thing I would recommend for you guys when you're doing practice tests is after you want to go over all the questions, and one, you want to identify the type of questions you got wrong, so you can kind of just like have like, okay, these are the types of questions I struggle with and I should work on. You kind of want to understand why you got it wrong, like relook at your thought process when you were doing the question and like, why did I choose this answer? And then you just want to understand why the correct answer is correct. I honestly did not follow this tip of like really going through like the questions after I took a practice test, because I was just like, I spent 4 hours on this practice test, I don't want to look at the questions again. But yeah, I definitely think it's worthwhile and it's beneficial. So I would really recommend that you guys do that. Just take as many practice tests as you can. You know, make it reasonable. You don't need to be doing like a practice test every day. And plus, like, you don't want to like run out of them. Like, if you have, say, 10 practice tests, like, I don't know, don't take them all 10 days in a row. Kind of just like space it out over the time period of which you're studying. Now I'm just going to talk about each individual section of the ACT and kind of my process about how I deal with it. So the first section is the English section, and I believe it's 75 questions in 45 minutes. Honestly, I'm definitely a more naturally inclined person when it comes to like English and like reading versus science and math. So I never found the English too hard, and I feel like there was kind of less grammar questions on the English ACT than compared to the SAT. I don't know if that's just me, but one tip I have for this section though is to underline as you read. I just feel like that helps me like absorb the information better and just concentrate more on what I'm reading. And then another tip I have is to do very, very brief annotations. So like I would read one paragraph, kind of bracket it, and just put like kind of the main idea about it. So like I just write death like next to a paragraph. Or if I notice like a really apparent like tone shift or plot twist or anything, I would just like make a mark. And I think this can be helpful because if you're kind of noticing these things ahead of time before you even get to the questions, I think it's just going to be like easier to answer the questions. At least that's what I found. Next, the math section. Me and the math section, we're not friends. So the math section is 60 questions in 60 minutes. So the first 30 questions of the math section are like smooth sailing. I mean, I don't think I still get all of them completely right, but generally speaking, they're like really easy. Like, it's just basic math, like find the area of something, like add numbers, pretty simple stuff. But after that,
honey, you've got a big storm coming.
After that, like, you can really tell the difference. Like, it just gets a lot harder. It's just like more advanced math, like definitely like trig. There was like something called like a matrix. Like, I don't even know who or what that is. Like, what is a matrix? I still don't know. But that was a question on there. Definitely the questions require more thought. And I will say, it doesn't necessarily require more work. I just think you kind of just have to know what you have to do. And if you're adding like a million numbers and like you're getting like really big numbers, it's like, homegirl, you're doing something wrong, because it's not that hard. These questions really are designed to be done in like 1 minute. So if I honestly could not figure out something within like 5 seconds of reading it, like if I literally read something and I was just like, huh? I would just go to the next question, like make a mark, go to the next question, because you really just have to try to get as many right possible as you can. So yeah, that's what I did. Honestly, when I took the ACT the second time, I think I guessed on like maybe 10 math questions, like maybe more than that. Like, you just really have to guess. I found that I could like never really even fully make it to like the last 5 questions of the math section, so it's just like, really have to guess. I don't have that many tips on the math section because it wasn't my strongest. Okay, next section, reading. As I said, I'm pretty good with reading, and I used my same strategy as the English section, just underlining stuff and making note of things with like really small annotations. Also, I kind of find that in the reading section, if you kind of trick yourself into getting really invested into like the passage you're reading, it makes it a lot easier to understand it. Some things I honestly just found super interesting, and I was just like, this is so interesting, and like I like reading this. So answering the questions for that was like way easier for me. So if you can like somehow trick yourself into like being very invested into the passages, that might help. The last section is science. I think a big misconception people have about the science section is that you actually have to know science to be able to do it. You do not need to know any science at all. I think it's really just about, you have to be able to kind of decipher information and find out what is relevant and what is not out of like kind of a lot of information they give you. They use a lot of fancy like science jargon, and I feel like it's really hard to understand, at least for me. This is the one section where I would actually recommend reading the questions before and then going back to the graph or to like the small paragraph they give you and trying to find the answer that way. I feel like most of the time that works. I mean, obviously they can still trick you sometimes, but yeah, that worked for me a lot. And for the science, that's definitely something I kind of like ran low on time with. I had to guess on a few as well. Now just like for some basic like test day tips, I recommend if you have one to wear a watch, because I didn't have a watch and I couldn't really see the clock either. So I kind of just like relied on whenever the proctor was like 5 minutes and I had like 10 questions less, then I just had to scramble. Of course, the night before, get a really good night of sleep. And then another one I have for you guys is to just not stress about it too much. I think most of the time when you go and take this test, it's like, don't put too much pressure on yourself, because you can take it like as many times as you want to. I mean, for the most part, like you can take it a lot of times. So I would say like don't put too much pressure on yourself. Don't get too worked up over it. And even if you feel like you did bad on maybe one section, like don't you know, wait, what is that word? Oh, don't feel discouraged even if you feel like you did really bad on one section. Just still try really hard on the rest of the sections, because obviously there's always super scoring as well. Just at the end of the day, know that your college admissions are not solely decided on what you get on this test, and you know, whatever number you get on this test does not determine your worth. So I really hope these tips help you guys out a little bit, and definitely let me know if you have any more questions about the ACT in the comments, and definitely request any more like college or school related videos that you want to see from me, and I'll definitely do them. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you guys have a great day. Remember to, I'm just gonna say it, like, comment, and subscribe. So yeah, and I'll see you guys next time.